Hello again, everyone. Moving away from Bakir again as always and as usual. Yeah, I have quite the interesting entity that I'm going to cover in this video. You can see who it is. He goes by the name of Coiznas. That's obviously spelled Coiznas. He is mentioned in the Grimoire of Turiel as one of the messengers of Venus. Now, let's start off with his skill set first. He is of an uncategorized nature, so another unclassifiable spirit, literally nothing, even by unclassifiable standards. Usually some Enochian spirits are like that. In a manner of speaking, Enochian, da, 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 da. He's unclassifiable. Like, there is literally no classification, nothing, nothing. Now, if obviously you want to work with him and you still need attributes and related, the planet that comes the closest to working with him is the planet Saturn. So think Saturn, so obviously Saturday as the day, the corresponding day, blah blah blah. Okay. So remember that Saturn. Um, as for what he can do skill set wise, he simply specializes in helping people accomplish their wishes, hopes, and aspirations in the typical, hypothetically speaking, coincidentally, in the typical sphere of Saturn. Um, he simply helps people with the aforementioned, accomplishing goals, objectives, people that are ambitious, people that want to get things done, yada, 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 etc., etc. All essentially things of a typical Saturnian nature. But again, understand that this is just, like I said, Saturn as a correspondency is the closest you'll get, but in actuality, he is not Saturn. He has no classification. Now, one of the first things I wondered, because obviously sensing his energy and everything, I thought to myself, why in the Grimoire of Turiel the association as a messenger of Venus, as one of the Venusian spirits mentioned therein? The answer to that is that it was a hypothetical coincidence. When the Grimoire of Turiel was, or prior to the Grimoire of Turiel being put together and or in that whole process, just overall, um, by coincidence, um, when he was worked with, okay, when he was worked with, it turns out that the person that worked with him had success in romantic and or love related affairs. So you need to envision a situation as an example that the spiritual introduced it to the people and or the person that wrote the grimoire, and or this whole thing at some point, and then the person, so essentially here you go, Coiznas, and the person simply said, oh, I have like a love-based working and or related, something to that extent, that needs to be taken care of. And Coiznas actually came through, and then we're like, yeah, you're okay, yeah, no, you really could do well in Venusian affairs, so I'm gonna like coin you messenger of Venus, blah, blah, blah. That's what I mean by coincidence. But again, it's just that and nothing more, purely a coincidence. Okay, Coisnas does not specialize in anything of a Venusian nature, and the aforementioned successes of the aforementioned individual or group of individuals, or the author or authors of the Grimoire of Turiel simply essentially got lucky based on, in a manner of speaking, strictly based on conditions and circumstances of a personal nature, where it doesn't matter what spirit they would have worked with, Koisnas could come through. Based on what I said in terms of what Koisnas specializes in, then you see that everything is on the table. Love is on the table, wealth is on the table, anything. Okay? Because saying that, hey, he can help you accomplish any goal, etc., anything you want to accomplish if you're ambitious, it's quite an umbrella term. Because again, it covers everything. Essentially, you want to build a company, can be done. Um, Now, where Coisnas comes into play in terms of the interesting part, it got even more interesting as I went along. Oh, let me see. I've covered everything. Da, 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 da. Yes. Now, There is a drawback before I discuss his appearance and whatnot, is that let me see, what was it again? Oh yeah, the drawback is that Coiznas is generally speaking not someone that is like easily motivated and whatnot. So you work with Coiznas, you need to like really essentially hype him up. You need to be the hype man because he'll essentially follow your example. Spirits by default do this in general, in the sense that you're like the captain of a football team. If the team sees that, hey, our captain doesn't believe in our ability to do something, then their morale is going to be low. They're just going to be like, yeah, whatever. Okay, let's just do this. But, you know, so they follow your example. But with Koistas, this is especially the case. Koistas is essentially just doing this. La di da di da di da di da. Yes, yes, you summoned me. What do you want? Okay. So you really need to be, hey, listen to me, my guy. With all due respect, this is what I want. This is how I want it. This is when I want it, etc. I believe you can do it. I did all the readings, etc. Please go for it. Let's do this. Let's do this. Then he's gonna be like, okay, no, now you got my attention. Okay, okay, let's do this. Yeah, you're right. Let's do this. Like that. I hope I've made myself clear. And last but not least, appearance. Oh boy, in this typical manner of the thumbnail of this video, that's why I added that as a thumbnail after all. Coisnas appears as a winged serpent. He appears as a black snake, or just a snake overall, a viper of moderate size, I want to say. Moderate size being 2 meters, give or take, 2.5, whatever. Um, with wings and white wings specifically, but I think they also become blackish briefly. And his voice is very serpentine, like, typical serpentine like voice. And something that I don't think that any spirit ever in my entire life and or career has done. If so, I simply can't remember because it was that long ago. Either way, he essentially lied to me. I could sense it, obviously, because I was like, why do you appear as a serpent? Kind of reminds me of the pagan god Quetzalcoatl, Incan, I think, Mayan Incan or Mayan god or Aztec god. In any case, the pop media depiction of him in reality, again, see that video if you're interested in Quetzalcoatl. Simply look it up on my YouTube channel. That's not at all how he appears. I'm simply bringing it up as in pop media references. They like to refer to the pagan god Quetzalcoatl, the indigenous pagan god Quetzalcoatl, like as a feathered serpent. That's literally called feathered serpent. Just a side plan. Anyways, Coiznas. Coiznas appears like that, like I said, but of course completely different. Like I said, black snake wings, etc. Now, I told Coiznas, interesting. Why do you appear like that? Why do you appear as like a winged serpent? And he told me I used to be a pagan god. I was like, no, I can easily sense that that's a lie. And he was like, yeah, I'm sorry, that's a lie. And it wasn't a joke or anything like that. Like if I was, if I was a novice, I might have seriously fallen victim to that lie, and I would have been like, oh, really? You know. And again, he radiates a good deal of deceptive energy. So this is definitely something that you need to be on the lookout for. Ironically, he himself recommends that in a manner of speaking, ironically, to the average person. And then I told him, okay, now listen, I command you, tell me the truth. And then his voice changed to a really profound, like almost like a, a knightly voice. Think the voice of a knight, like a paladin like knight, like really like heavy and sounding very celestial and justice like. And he said, no, there is no reason, etc. This is my voice when I speak the truth, when you commanded me to do so. There is no reason, literally no reason. It other than the fact that it simply reflects his deceitful nature. I was like, yeah, and that's why he also was like, this is simply my nature. I can't do anything about it. It is in my nature to, when it comes to, in this regard and or aspect, when it comes to stuff like this, to be deceitful. So please pass on the message to other people as well so that they're aware of it. Um, I mean, lesser magicians or those that are not strong enough, he said, will fall victim to my deceit, and so on and so forth. And when I dismissed him, unlike most spirits, he essentially left and he burrowed into the ground outside my apartment. So I live on the fifth floor of my apartment. So he just like burrowed down, outside on the soil, simply on the sand outside. Um, all quite interesting interacting with Coiznas. That's also why his name immediately caught my attention compared to all the others. I was like, Coiznas, interesting. What an interesting name. And I don't really see anything regarding information on him online. Nothing whatsoever. So that's it with Coiznas. So again, you guys need to be on guard. Okay, it's strongly recommended that strong and experienced magicians summon him, and that you guys, you know, simply heed everything that I mean, heed yourselves based on everything that I've said, and pay close attention. Otherwise, you're gonna get scammed in a manner of speaking. Now, it's not Koisnas's fault that he gets scammed. I've already explained this in the past. The same way that someone that smells a certain way, someone that has a specific kind of body odor, can't do anything about the fact that they have that kind of body odor. Bluntly put, if people stink, they can't do anything about the fact that they stink. They don't want to stink, but they can't do anything about that. In that same context, obviously not meant negatively towards Koiznas, but when it comes specifically to his deceitful nature, just like he said, it's in his nature to be deceitful. He doesn't actively have it in for you if he scams you or screws you over. It's simply what comes to him naturally. So, in order to circumvent this, you simply need to be on guard and you need to be a skilled magician. So, not a novice, for example, that doesn't fully grasp or at least grasp up to a considerable margin what he is doing, or the who, the where, the what, the why, and the how, etc., in relation to what he's doing. That's all. Bye bye.